So you access the cloud from this URL, impact.cloudled.com. You can access it from any device with an internet connection. We do not have an app, so if you're using a phone or tablet, you do have to use the URL. And we recommend to use Google Chrome as your web browser. The software doesn't work well with other browsers, so use Google Chrome. All right. So we are going to log in using one of your IDs because ours has an administrative look and it looks a little bit different than yours. So once we log in here, you can change your password up here in the top right corner. If you hit this drop down here, hit edit account, you can change your password right there. All right, so to navigate this website, you're going to use this charcoal gray toolbar over here, and I'll show you what each of these icons are. This right here is Sites. And, you know, a lot of schools will put all their schools in their district underneath one umbrella. Most of you will only have just your site, so you really won't have to ever use this particular icon here. This right here is Users. And we can make one person per site the primary user, and that user could create other accounts for the site. And or you could just call us or email us, and we can create it anytime. But if you were the primary user, you would have this Register User button right there. And if you click Register User, you put in this information. We recommend to generate the password and let them change it after, and then hit register, and then it'll take you to another page, and you just want to confirm your site is there and hit assign. And if any of you want to be the primary user for your site, you can just let us know, and we will make you the primary user. This fourth icon down here is the media library. If you want to upload any photos or videos or whatever to the cloud, you can, and then access it from any device, or you can just simply browse to it wherever it is on the device that you're using. But the two you're going to use the most are Playlist and Devices. That's the two tabs you'll use the most. So we're going to go to Playlist. That's why most of you signed up for the course. And we are going to create a new playlist. I'm going to just delete this out of here. And so to create a new playlist, we go up here to New Playlist, and we'll just call it Test. And it's going to take me inside that playlist once I create it. If I hit this back arrow up here, you can see now that I've created this playlist. It has 0 slides in it. You can only send one playlist to the sign at a time, but you can put as many slides in it as you would like. So if you sent the playlist and then someone came behind you and sent their playlist, theirs will be the one that shows, the last one that is sent. So if you want to share a playlist, which a lot of people do, and just edit and swap out the slides between multiple people in one playlist, you can click this share button right here. And as you can see, we have another person that has an ID for that site, so you would click Edit and then Share. And then when this person logs on, your playlist will show under their ID, and then they can edit and do whatever that they want to as well. So now we're going to create the slides for the playlist. So if I click back in here, up here in the top right, you see New. So if I click on New, you're going to see a little black box here. We can magnify this box right here with a zoom in button. This has no bearing on your sign. It's just the way the software developer developed it. So this is easier to view if you magnify it. But this plus sign right here, Add Object, that is where you can create your different kinds of slides. So if I hit the plus sign here, we see we got text, image, video, RSS, time and temp, website, scrolling text. These three here, website, time and temp, and RSS, they all reach out to the internet to get their information after you send it to the sign. Most people don't use RSS or website. A lot of people do use time and temp. So we'll do a time and temp slide here. And as you can see, you got your date and then the time, and then the temperature. If you wanted to separate these on 3 different slides, you could just delete the 2 off of here and confirm, and then do the same thing for the 2 other slides. We're just going to keep them all on here for the purpose of this training, and hit confirm. And as you see, it is not correct right here on the screen, but once you save it and you actually send it out to your sign, it will reach out to a weather server associated with your zip code. If you ever notice that the temperature is off, your sign could be disconnected from the internet. Your Wi-Fi is offline or something to that effect. So you would notice that with the temperature being off. Your time and date would stay true for a time with your control card, but your temperature would be off, and you might need to troubleshoot while your sign's offline. So as you can see, we have a little box here within a big box. Again, that is just the way the software developer developed this software. This box does represent your sign, so it's not going to look like a little tiny box out on your sign. This does look correct within this software here. So we'll go back and create a text slide, and so we'll go up here again and hit New in the top right. We're going to magnify here, and then the plus sign, Add Object. So we'll click Text here, and as you can see, it says double click, and once we do that, it allows you to edit the text. So this by default will stretch this dead center as big as the font can be across your screen. So the more words you type, the smaller it's actually going to get. And as you can see right here, the font was 24, but once I confirm this, now it shrunk down to 13, you can see, and it made it fit across there dead even. So, you know, the more you put in there, the smaller it's going to be. And if you want to stack text, you can do that as well. So to delete this top layer of text that I just put in there, I can go over here where it says Layers over here to the right and hit this trash can, and it will delete that top layer. This right here, by the way, is the dimension of your sign. That is there by default. You don't want to change it. That should be the way it should always be that way. If you do change it, it will throw off how this looks over here. So just keep that the same. So we will go back here, Add Object, Text, and we'll double click to edit. And now to stack text, you just hit the Enter key after the last word or line. And then when you get to the final word or line, you don't want to hit Enter on it, because if you do, this is what will happen. If I hit Enter on that last one and I confirm it, it's going to make it look off here. So let's trash this, and we'll go back and we'll double click, and that actually did not do what I wanted it to do. Let me show you how it's actually will look if you push Enter here. So it kind of shoves it all together. It doesn't really space it apart the way it should be. So if we go back, we just hit Test, 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 and just leave the blinking cursor there on that final word. Now it puts it in there nice and even. This toolbar up here, it's very much like an Excel spreadsheet. If you point to it, it tells you what this stuff is. Left offset, top offset. Over here you got your character spacing, your line spacing, text outline, color, text color, center, left, and right, and bold, italicize. And you got your font size, your font style, and your background color. You can pretty much select any shade of any color that is imaginable. So if we click on it, let's say we want a pink. We can hit this and select a pink. And then if I go to the sliders button here, you can dial in on just about any shade that you want. You can also kind of do it a little bit with this HV panel. But with this, once you select your color, you can really select any shade that you're looking for. And you can do the same thing with the text color as well. If we want to go over here and let's say we do green, we can hit that, and then we can kind of hone in on any shade that we're looking for there. If you want to put an outline, this denomination has to be more than 0, so we can hit that, hit it up. There we have our outline, and again, you can play with your color as you see fit for the outline. So we're going to go ahead and save this, and we're going to do a scrolling text next. So let's say you have a big event, and the big event is at such and such location, and it's at such and such time and date. If you're trying to squeeze all that into one slide, it's probably going to be too small for anyone to read. So you could do one of two things. You could just create separate slides and have them run concurrently and, put a bit of information in each one, or you could do a scrolling text. So we'll hit New, magnify here, and Add Object. So now we'll go down here to Scrolling Text, and once again you double click in here to edit, and then you can just type in your long message, and right here you can change the direction if you want to. And as you can see, it's a little fast by default, so if you hit the drop down here and change it to 1 or 2, it'll slow it down to a speed that people could actually read there. And again, you can play with the color and the font and all that as you see fit. You don't want to get too fancy with the font style. Big block lettering will show up better on your sign, so keep that in mind. So we'll go ahead and save that. And the next thing we'll do is an image. So this software supports most normal image formats such as JPEG, PNG, anything you take with your phone. But it won't support, say, a PDF file that's a picture, because a PDF file is not in an image format. A lot of people use GIFs or GIFs, however you want to pronounce it. They have animated code in the background, so if you actually wanted to use those, you had to convert them to an MP4. And you could just Google GIF to MP4 converter and find a free one down there, and you could convert them that way. So we will go here to New, and we will magnify here. And so had you uploaded anything in your multimedia folder, when you go here to Add Object and Image, you could scroll down to the bottom right here, and it would show up right there. Or you can, as I mentioned, just browse to where it's at. So you can click here, or you could just drag and drop, but you can click here, go to, say, your Pictures folder, and then voila, you got it right there, and you can upload it. These folders here, a lot of these are empty. A lot of them will be useless to you. They were put up here when we first launched the cloud with some of the clients that we worked with. But this one right here, Holidays and Events, is one that a lot of people do like and use. It has just pretty much every national and international holiday that's in there. So we're going to use one of these. And so when I open it, I'm going to select this one, which actually happens to not be a holiday. And the reason I'm going to do that is I want to show you that you can put text over top of an image. So if I click this, we have it right here. And as you can see, it's set stretch to fill. It's important to know that every image that you upload is not going to be the exact matrix of your sign. So I'm going to give you an example of where you wouldn't want this stretch to fill after this slide here. So this does work, stretch to fill. We'll confirm it. And so once we get the image up here, then we can go back to Add Object. We can go Text. And then we can double click in here and add our text on top of it. And so again, if you type it in there, it doesn't look right, and you're like, you can go back over here to this layer button and delete it off here and put it back in there again. So I'm just going to delete both of these because I want to show you an example of where you would not want it stretched to fill. So we'll go back here to Add Object. We'll go Image, and then we're going to pluck something out of the School Logos folder that's a circle here. So we got the school logo. It's supposed to be this nice round circle, and then when I click on it, it stretches it and makes it look awkward. So you could hit this drop down and hit No Scale or Preserve Aspect Ratio. But if you do either one of these two, it's going to take this image and it's going to push it all the way over to the left, which most people want it centered. So you can adjust it either way. You can keep it stretched to fill and adjust it, drop it down here and adjust it. So we're just going to just adjust it from the stretch to fill. So once we confirm, we see it's all stretched out. So if you grab these blocks right here, you can slide them over. You can grab this one on the other side and slide it over. And so now we got our circle the way it's supposed to look. And yes, you will have black on the edge of your screen if you do have to push your photo in, but at least it will look nice out there. And you know, obviously, a high definition photo that you have on your phone or computer screen is not going to look high definition out on this kind of sign. So keep that in mind too. It won't be crystal clear high definition, but at least it will not be all stretched out awkwardly. So if you did want to add text again, above, below, to the left or right would probably work for this one. You can do that as well. And so we could go back to add object, text, and again we can double click in here and we'll go test, and once I confirm, again it will center it dead center, but you can grab these blocks here and you can slide them out of the way. And you can move it over here, raise it up if you want to raise it up, however you see fit. And then you can switch back and forth. If you want to adjust this, you can adjust it there or go back here. If you wanted to add more text to the other side, you can add object text, and then you could just grab that text and move it over here and get it on the other side if you want to do that as well. So you can play with that as you see fit with your images, and that is an option to put text on them. So the next thing we'll do is a video, and I just showed you how you can put text over an image. This software does not support putting text over a video. It will let you go through the steps of doing it, but then when you go to send it to the screen, it won't play, and sometimes it corrupts the whole playlist, and it won't play the whole playlist when you do that. So if you did want to do advanced editing features on a video, you could use any third-party software. Photoshop is one that a lot of people have heard of. That's just one of many, but you can use a third-party software to edit and do certain things to videos or images, and then upload them here to the cloud. So if we hit Add Object and we go Video, and again, if you uploaded some stuff, you can scroll down and it'll be down here at the bottom, or you can just browse to it. And we will go into the Holidays and Events folder and grab something out of there. And we'll scroll down here and pick one of these out and confirm. And we got our American flag and eagle, and this already had text, so this will work. And happy 4th of July. So we'll go ahead and confirm that. And sometimes it takes the videos a little bit longer to save in the cloud, so this little blue spin wheel that you see is normal. All right. So if you got all the slides that you want in a particular playlist, but they're not in the order that you want them, you can just grab and click and hold and just slide it to the position that you want. And when I let go, you're going to see an orange button pop up above here, Save Slide Arrangement. So once I click that, you'll see these numbers change, and now we have them in this particular order. So I'm just going to show you what a few of these little buttons are. Right here, if you point to it, it'll tell you, but that's edit the playlist name. This little pencil here will edit the slide name if you wanted to name each slide. This pencil edits the slide itself. Right here, you can make a copy of it. If I click on here, if I had another playlist created, I could hit the drop down and select it and then copy it to that playlist, or I can just copy it within this one if I wanted to duplicate it. So there we have two of them. And to trash it, just hit the little trash can button, and we'll delete it out of there. And to actually view the slide, this software doesn't show it run concurrent across the screen like it will actually do on the sign, but you can hit this little eyeball here, and you can view how your video would look, or view, say, how your scrolling text will look going across the screen. You can view how this transitions in. This right here is called a fade in. And as you can see, all these are set to fade in by default. If you wanted to change the way that transitions in on your sign, this little half hook arrow here that says flip card, you'll have that option here. You can hit the drop down here by transition, and let's say we want it to fly in from the bottom right. And this right here would adjust the speed that it would come in. We hit save, and then if we flip it back over and view it, now it's coming in from the bottom right there. And so you can play with the transitions any way you see fit. And if if you notice here, the duration is set to 7 seconds by default on all the slides, except for videos or animations. They will automatically default to the length that they are. And again, if you wanted to edit the length, you would have to use a third-party software that has more advanced features to edit and do things with video. But anyway, if you do want to change the duration, you can hit, again, this card, and right here, you got your seconds, your minutes, and your hours, and you can plus or minus and set it the way you want to. If you want to change the duration of all the slides at one time, you can go up here to the settings button here in the top right, and if you click on that, you can change them all at once. Again, except for a video, it will default to the length that it is automatically. And then one of the most important features that people will use is the schedule. So you can schedule each slide. You do have to schedule a slide individually. You can't do them all at once. So if we click schedule here, and right here, you can schedule something once daily, all day, or at a certain time of day. You can do the same thing weekly, same thing monthly. And then you got your holidays here. You can actually set your holidays up to 4 years in advance, as you see here. And so once it gets to the time and date that you have this set to stop playing, it will no longer play on your playlist. If you want to make it play again, you would just have to go back, change the schedule, and then resend it to the sign. Just because you change it here in the cloud, it's not going to take effect until you send it back out to the screen. So keep that in mind. And that brings me to the next step, which is sending it to the screen. So you can send it to the screen from right here in the top right where it says send to screen. And you can also send it to screen if I back out of the playlist here and go to the root of it. This gray button right here will send it to screen as well. I'll point out here you can duplicate your playlist here. You can also download this to a USB and plug it directly in your sign. That would require having the T tool to open the sign and get it in there and plug it directly into the controller. We've had some scenarios where people had a big event going on and their Wi-Fi went down and they were able to get their playlist on there manually like that. But anyway, back to send the screen. You can do it from right here, or if we're inside the playlist, up here with this green button. So once I hit send the screen, we can see that this is offline. You got the red cloud and it says offline. A lot of new installs are offline because the Wi-Fi hasn't been set up on their network yet. But if it is offline, let's say your Wi-Fi went down or whatever, don't bother to hit send. A lot of people, they'll hit send 10 times, and then you'll have 10 playlists hung in your queue, and then nothing is going to send till you clear it all out. It's kind of like a printer queue that gets hung. You got to just clear everything out and kind of start all over. So if your sign is offline, then you might need to call us to troubleshoot and get it back online, help you get it back online. So if it was online and you hit send, the next place you're going to want to go is where we started out at on this Devices tab here. So if I click Devices here, you can see that we have the playlist name and the display name, the playlist name, and actually the site name are all the same here. Once you create your new playlist, it probably will be something different. But to get into the properties of your sign, you want to click the hyperlink right here under display name. So once we click in here, we can scroll down here, and this is where your commands, it shows all the commands that have been sent. So the last command will show right up here on top, and it will go into 3 delivery statuses. It will start off as queued, it will transition to sent awaiting response, and then eventually to success. This takes about 3 minutes before it shows up on the cloud. If you're looking at your sign, it probably might take about 2. But to register in the cloud, it usually takes about 3 minutes. So if you go directly in here, it doesn't refresh automatically. So if it says sent or queued or whatever, you actually have to refresh your screen before it will eventually go to success. So you can refresh your screen a couple times, or you could wait a good 3 to 5 minutes and then come in here and just check it and see if it says success. If it gets past the 5-minute mark, it is likely hung for whatever reason. It shouldn't take longer than 5 minutes. I have seen incidences where the bandwidth for someone's internet was so slow it did take that long, but for most people it should not take longer than 3 minutes. So if it goes past the 5-minute mark, over here under action on the right, you'll have a little red trash can like that was on the slides, and you can trash that out and try to resend it. If you want to change your time zone, you can click this pencil here and drop it down, select your time zone, and hit update. That will actually send a double command. It'll send an upgrade and then a get status command, so it will take about 6 minutes before that updates. And as you can see, speaking of this get status, the system will occasionally send its own get status command. It's just the cloud reaching out to the sign, making sure it's still communicating. So if you ever see that, that is normal. If you want to set a brightness schedule, you can also do that. If your school or place of business is in a neighborhood, some neighbors might complain, hey, that sign is just too bright at night. So you could set a brightness schedule. You can click the pencil here, scroll down to the bottom, and click schedule, and then you could add one for day and add one for night. And during the brightest, clearest sky, usually your brightness will not go above the low 80s. So you could set it in the low 80s and then make your nighttime half that much, or you may even be able to go lower. You'd have to trial and error that and see how it looks, and then hit save. And again, that will send a double command. It'll take about 6 minutes, and then inside this little parentheses where you see the number 8, that would change and say scheduled. This little trash can right here underneath the hard drive, this will delete the content of your sign, and it will also, clear the memory and the cache off of it. If you ever called us and said, hey, my playlist won't send, or it's glitchy or something like that, we might go in here and send this command and wipe it and then resend your playlist. So you could even do that yourself if you're having that issue before you call us, and see if that works. And then up here at the top here, you can send your own get status command by clicking this button here next to it. If I drop that down, you can reboot your sign doing the same way, clicking that button next to it. This right here would delete the content of your sign, and that just simply wipes off the playlist. It doesn't clear the cache and the memory like this command over here with this trash can does. And again, it's important to know that you cannot send any command if you're disconnected. So keep that in mind. If you're offline here, it's not going to communicate with the sign to send that command. So in a nutshell, that is it. We go here to playlist. You can hit new to create the new playlist, and then once you're inside the playlist, you go up here to the top right, new, for a new slide, and you can magnify here, and then this plus sign is where you would add the different kinds of slide. Add object, select that, and then you send it to screen. And once you send it to screen, you can go down here and hit devices, and then go in here under display name, and then you can confirm if it actually sent. And again, it takes about 3 minutes. And that is it in a nutshell. So I want to give you our contact info. And if you look here, this is our 800 number. This is our email address, and these are our business hours. We are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 Eastern Standard Time. And if you just have a general question that you don't need immediate feedback on or whatever, you can email us, and we will reply back. And no matter how big or small, if it's just, hey, how do I do this on this slide, send us an email or give us a call. And this is also the number that you would call us to troubleshoot. Say, hey, why is our sign offline? Or hey, a tile looks like it's going out, or whatever. You would call this number as well. for troubleshooting purposes. And it is better to call us if you want an immediate response. The phones do ring a lot, so if you send an email, it might take us a little bit longer to get back with you. But the 800 number, if you need immediate attention, I would recommend calling that.